Hey everyone, it's Becky from patchworkposse.com, and today in this video I am going to be talking about this Omni grid from Fawns and Porters. It's called the 1/2 and 1/4 ruler, and it makes beautiful flying geese and half square triangles. So I will walk you through the steps on how to make that happen for you and how you can use this ruler for quick piecing. Okay, first of all, we're going to take a look at the ruler, and this is the Fawns and Porters Omni Grid. I've got a link in the description for you to check it out, but it is the 1/2 and 1/4 ruler, and what this makes is your flying geese. It is super quick and simple. If you're making 1,000 flying geese, I'm not sure this is the method, but if you're making, quite a few and you still need some help with them, this is super helpful. So as you can see, there is measurements that go from the point at the top to the bottom. And these measurements are for the area that will be the center of your flying geese. So those correspond to this area. And these side ones, sorry for the glare, these side measurements are what is corresponding to the corner fabrics. So quickly, they have numbers that go up and down and also on the side angle. So what you want to do is you're going to find what the measurement that you need for your flying geese, and so your long side. So I was making this flying geese, and it was going to be 3 inches finished, which is 3.5 unfinished, and so that's why mine is a little larger. So I'm going to find the finished size that I want my flying geese, and I'm going to run right over, and I'm going to see that I need to cut 2 inches strips. If I want it 3.5, I'm going to cut it at 2 1/4. So this tells you what width you need. That way you have like really very little waste in your fabric. In fact, there should be no waste. Then the other side, it goes along the same way. So because I cut my strips over here 2.5 inches, then this is the same. So you're going to find your finished size and then look at what you need to cut your strips at. Okay, so let's get started. I've got my strips all cut. So I'm going to go for the corner pieces right now, which is the 2 outside lines. So for this, you are going to be using this corner, and there is a secret. Here is a little point, and it's not blacked out, but it's in yellow. This goes beyond your fabric. So when you lay it on your fabric, you are going to want to make sure that this yellow tip is beyond your fabric strip. You're going to be cutting your tips off right from the beginning, which makes it really easy when you piece. So after I line that up, I'm going to line up both the bottom with the correct measurement and the side strip. And so I'm going to go ahead and trim that. Okay, so after I've cut my piece, then I'm just going to move this aside, and I'm going to flip my ruler. So I always keep my cutting on the right side. So again, I'm going to make sure that this tip is beyond the fabric. I'm going to line up my side, and I'm going to line up my correct measurement along the bottom, and then I will make another cut, scoot it aside, and then reverse the ruler again to make my next cut. And you can layer your fabrics. So if you want to cut more than one piece at a time, go right ahead. I wouldn't get it too thick because they do shift, but that is helpful when you need multiple cuts. And so then you can just continue to cut your pieces. Now you have your side pieces for the flying geese units. I'm going to set these aside. And we are going to work on our center. Now the center, we're going to use this measurement as well. And again, it has a black tip that you want to go above and beyond where I'm going to turn my fabric so I can see what I'm doing and also make a correct cut without cutting into myself. So I want the black tip beyond my fabric. I'm going to cut that tip off. I'm going to measure up, line up the bottom so it is right along that edge. And then make sure this edge is also lined up, and then I'm going to make my cut. Now this strip I cut shorter, and so I don't have enough to cut another one, but that is the process. So now what you do is take this a little bit, take this to the sewing machine, and you will be lining up. It's harder with solids because I don't have a right side or a wrong side. You're going to line up the tips and the cutoff tops, okay? Then you're going to sew your 1/4 inch seam, and I will flatten this out so you can see. Okay, so you're going to sew your 1/4 inch seam. Notice how the tip is lined up as well as the flat top. And then after you sew it, you fold it over an iron, and then you sew the next side. This was my first side. There's not going to be anything that you need to trim. The seams are correct. There's no additional sewing line. And actually, this is spot on. So these dog ears at the bottom were the only things that needed to be trimmed. Other than that, you end up with a perfect flying geese. So that is how you use the Fons and Porter's Omni Grid 1/2 and 1/4 ruler. For more tutorials and free quilt patterns, you can visit patchworkposse.com.